In our Ignite the Truth Bible reading program, we're reading right now in the book of Leviticus. And in Leviticus 6, verse 8, it says this, "The Lord commanded Moses, saying, Command the sons of Aaron," and then what follows is an awful lot of commands for the priests. It's an amazing chapter, very detailed, and probably many of us Christians don't really get into all of those details so well. But it is very apparent to me after reading these passages, and it continues for the next 2 chapters, that God has very high expectations for spiritual leaders. They are to be called, they are anointed, appointed, ordained, committed to God, committed to obedient, faithful service. They were to be diligent. They were to be studious. In fact, it would take a very studious priest to understand all the details of the law that God gave through Moses, how the people were to be led spiritually. They were to minister for the people of Israel to the Lord, the God of Israel, and they were to do it in a very particular way. Now, I remember hearing the phrase, "Don't sweat the small stuff." And after reading these chapters, I'm questioning that whole idea. It seems that God really cares about the small stuff, down to the details of what colors people wore on their priestly garments, and exactly how much of the meat offering they were to keep to eat themselves, and how much was to be burned up on the altar for the Lord. Detail after detail after detail, God cares about the small stuff. Now, that does not mean that we shouldn't care about the big picture or the vision of what God is going to do in our life or our ministry. But what we lose track of, I think, is that we don't get to the big picture until we have done all of the little details. If you're going to build a building, you have a picture of what the building's going to look like. You have a blueprint. You have an amazing idea of how it's going to finish up. But if you don't pay attention to the details, if you don't make sure the bricks are all the same size and that they're all lined up perfectly and the mortar is the right thickness, if you don't make sure the electrical lines go through correctly, if you don't make sure the plumbing is put in place at the right time, your building will not be a good building. It will not stand. And the same is true in our lives. Before we're ready to handle the big things, the Lord has to teach us step by step by step by step all the things that will make us the person that can handle the big job that He has for us. Maybe even the big trial that will come our way. Our dear pastor, Jess Gibson, who's chairman of Bridges for Peace for many years, used to say, "Don't wait to gain faith when you have the big crisis. Learn to have faith in God in the day-to-day." I believe that God is saying, sweat the small stuff. Pay attention to the small stuff, because the small stuff builds in your life, in every day, builds toward the big stuff that He has planned for His kingdom purposes and for your life purpose. Now, we read on in Leviticus, we get to chapter 8, and we find that it's there that the priests are consecrated. And again, very, very many details of exactly how to consecrate the priests of the Lord. So today I want to encourage you to sweat the small stuff. Pay attention to the things that God puts in your way. Don't let them just slide by. Do them with diligence. If you're making breakfast for your children, make a good breakfast. The small steps of life are what God uses to prepare us for the greater things that He has, the purpose that He has for us, for you as a leader, for you as a parent, for you as a Christian who wants to follow Him. So pay attention to the details. God does.